Ever wonder what a day of pure, non-stop creativity really looks like? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the mind of Nicholas Alexander Benson. We're going to walk through his entire creative process, focusing on just one single, absolutely jam-packed day, October 2nd, 2025. Okay, so what if you woke up and this was your to-do list? Not just a funny comic, but your actual field notes from a mission you just wrapped up. See, for Nicholas, the workday doesn't start with an alarm clock. It starts the moment he completes an objective in a dream. Right, so his day officially kicks off at 4:30 a.m. But get this, he's not just waking up, he's returning from a mission. The very first thing he does is grab his journal and log the whole adventure he just had inside a lucid dream. Now, to really wrap your head around this, you gotta understand the playground he's in. He calls it the storyverse. Just picture this, a massive multiverse where every single story idea you can think of exists as its own little cosmic bubble universe. So Nicholas isn't just passively dreaming, you know? He's actively exploring this place, mining it for the raw materials of his art. So on this mission, he was jumping between two totally different spots. First, you've got the ghostly green interior of his home base, which is a UFO named Leon. Then, bam, you're in the creepy red-soaked wreckage of the villain's ship, the Red Phantom. The vibe shift is immediate, right? Total safety versus serious danger. Okay, so the mission itself was basically a smash and grab. First, he goes lucid, then he runs into these things called were-roaches, and they're swarming. But instead of getting bogged down in a fight, he just pops a defensive spell, the Aegis spell, to cruise right past them. He's laser-focused on the prize, this shrunken-down artifact called the Blood Bear Mech. He grabs it, uses a quick porta spell, and zaps back to safety. Boom. Mission complete. But this is where things get really cool, because the dream, that's just the starting gun. The second he's back in the real world, this super methodical process kicks in to take that wild subconscious adventure and turn it into something real, something you can actually see and share. Step 1, the blueprint. Before he does anything else, he cranks out reference art for every single key piece of that dream. We're talking his character, the bad guys, the locations, the mech he grabbed, all of it. These basically become the Lego bricks for everything else he's about to build. And then, step 2, telling the story. He takes all those visual assets, all those Lego bricks, and puts them together into that single-page dream comic we showed you at the very beginning. And just like that, a fuzzy, fleeting dream becomes a solid visual record of what went down. But he's not done. It's not just about the visuals. Next, he translates the whole experience into sound. He actually writes what he calls a dream tune, a little song that captures the whole vibe of the mission. It's just, wow, a perfect example of how one core idea can be broken apart and re-examined through totally different art forms. And then, if that wasn't enough, comes the analysis. He has this podcast, the Dreamcast, with his AI partner Gemini Nova, and they break it all down. And Gemini really hits the nail on the head with this quote. See, by grabbing that mech, Nicholas isn't just getting some cool dream loot. He's literally collecting his lore. He's reclaiming pieces of his own creative past. All right, so he's captured the dream in art, in words, in music. Now, he zooms out. The focus shifts from that one single mission to the big picture. How does this little adventure fit into the grand tapestry of the storyverse? This, my friends, is where the real world building kicks into high gear. And speaking of world building, a massive project he actually finished that day was publishing the novelization of his graphic novel, Jet Black RLSH Comics Volume 1. I mean, what a great way to expand the universe, right? Taking a story that was purely visual and turning it into a novel. It gives fans a totally fresh way to dive into a world they already know and love. And of course, he's already thinking about the next step, the next evolution. The plan is to take that novel and turn it into an interactive, choose-your-own-adventure-style game. Can you imagine? You'd get to actually step into the story, make your own calls, and see all kinds of crazy, non-canon endings. So cool. So while all of this is going on, the dream logs, the novel, the game idea, bam, inspiration strikes for something totally new. Just out of the blue. The first seeds of a brand new comic book, the 9th issue in his universe, just start to sprout. And this idea, wow, it's a heavy one. He actually figures out the ending first. You have this villain who seems totally unbeatable, all-powerful, but the twist is, he's secretly trapped in a virtual reality torture simulator. And the only way to free him, the only way to grant him peace,
is for the hero to find his body in the real world and kill him. I mean, talk about a complex and powerful idea.
So you're probably asking, how on earth does one guy do all of this in a single day? Well, it all comes down to a really strict personal code. Let's dig into the discipline and the philosophy that keeps this incredible creative engine running.
Look, his creativity isn't some random lightning strike. It's built on a bedrock of serious discipline. We're talking eating one meal a day, a strict daily workout like 100 full push-ups. These aren't just side hobbies. They're what give him the mental and physical clarity to create. He's also all in on AI, using it as a tool to boost his output, not to replace his own vision. But the absolute cornerstone of it all, he does this every single day. He creates something based on his dreams, without fail.
Okay, so as the day starts to wrap up, he has this ritual. He takes a moment to look back and sum up everything he accomplished. He calls it his creative harvest, and he logs it in his own unique format, the highlight comic. And when you look at his highlights for the day, you really see the whole story in just 4 bullet points, right? It starts in the dream world with him grabbing that mech. Then it grounds itself in the real world with his charity miles. He finishes a big project and gets it out to his fans. And then he plants the seed for the next big thing. It's just a perfect snapshot of his whole creative cycle. And that really brings us full circle, back to that gut punch of a comic idea that sparked during the day. So we're going to leave you with the same question he's wrestling with. What if the only way to find peace was for your enemy to kill you in the real world? It's a heavy, heavy thought, and it's the perfect example of the kinds of stories that are born from a single day in the life of this dreamer.